I'm worried about, and see, I'm rooting for the Patriots, and I'm doing it because of Mark. I'm doing it because I like the underdog. I think they're the underdog in this.
We are the underdog.
But yeah, see, you're another one of those guys that says we. Like you're at practice every day. You're suiting up. Yeah, Mark does the same thing. Yeah, we're out there. I'm going like, really? You're not even part of it. You're along for the ride. You didn't do anything, but it's we all of a sudden. Yeah, I get a kick out of that. But anyway, no, it's. But I'm rooting for the Patriots. I am. But the problem is, you all were so obnoxious when Brady was around. And I do my, you'd say like, well, I don't know if we're as good this year as we were last year when we won the Super Bowl, and you're like, just want to slap people when they're like that. You say, come here for a second. Let me slap some humbleness into you. But anyway,
that's just what losers say. Yeah.
You can see the state to which I've gotten now over all this, and then just
that's just loser talk right there.
Oh, okay, there it is. I like that. No, I don't listen. I all the teams I root for this year lost. Every team from Baltimore that I rooted for this year lost. Penn State, I lost. I mean, that was a bad year for me. So you know what? I gave up being a fan. I stopped it, and I never use the word we anyway. I don't do that unless it's my own team that I've coached. But that's a whole different story. So anyway, well, good to have you this morning. So what do you look at this week? What on this week that kind of jumped out at you?
Well, I would say it was and it's an unfortunate thing. The 300 journalists who lost their jobs at the Washington Post.
Yeah, I saw that.
The Washington Post, one of the top newspapers, I would say, in the world. I mean, these are people that broke the Watergate story, and obviously we're going back a ways, and a lot's happened since then. But one of the most significant and popular papers in the world. But they've fallen on some hard times, and Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon and a bunch of other things, he's the owner.
Yeah,
I don't know if some people know that, and other people may not.
Yeah, we talked about him earlier in the week, and one of the things they pointed to, Ted, that I thought was really fascinating. This said they never adapted well to going online with their newspaper. Now I go check. You could actually buy it online now, and I used to buy it, and I don't now, but. Because I can steal information from a whole lot of other places and get the same stuff, but they never moved well in that direction. What do you, as you see, we talked about the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette the other week, and now we talk about this paper on a more national level. What's going on here? What is it just that people could get everything online and they're laying down the paper, or what's going on?
Well, I think newspapers as an industry were slow to get online. And I trace that history in my book. They saw it. Some of them saw it as a tool, as a helpful tool, but they didn't see it as a
alternative,
as a game changer.
Yeah.
As an entire paradigm shift. And so, and as I think we said last week, they thought, well, it's just another kind of passing thing, or something that we can survive. Like TV and radio, we survive those things. So we can survive the internet as well. And they severely underestimated the power of the internet. They were slow to get online, but other papers have adapted. Like look at the New York Times.
Right.
They have their podcast is in the top three, consistently in the top three podcasts in the world. And the Washington Post just shut theirs down. They had a podcast. They shut theirs down. There's no reason why the Post can't have success like the New York Times. That's that's the big two in the United States. There's no reason they can't. They've got to look inside and say, well, is it our writing? Is it the guests that we have, the topics that we're choosing? They have to examine that, but I guess they're not going to because they just buried it. They just got rid of it.
Well, I know in our industry alone, like radio, and one of the things I used to look at it just as radio. Well, radio is important, and what we're doing right now, obviously, is going out to people on radio. But also, we do a lot of little podcasts, little things where I film stuff, other things where we prepare them, other things we have prepared podcasts. We have, social media stuff, posts that you're making all the time about things. And for big papers like that, there's a way of doing that. Obviously, the Times has been able to do that, but there's a way of doing that makes sense for people, and people want to have, and I think this is the biggest thing to understand, people want to have information at their fingertips. Well, you're not going to buy the newspaper at your fingertips everywhere, but you can turn that little machine on in your hands and you can go right to it. And I think Mark made the point the other day, and I thought it was a really good one, that, when this all first came out, people should have been switching over right away. People should have been going, okay, here's what we have. Here's what it's worth online, and have people pay for it right away and set the standard there, as opposed to we can get everything free. And like you said, it's a passing fad. Oh, and we'll try to catch up later on by charging you. Well, if people are getting it for free online, you charge them later on, they're going to go find something else to buy, right?
Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, most definitely. Yeah, that's the case around here as well. You can get stuff online for free. The TV stations have done that. They have jumped on, long since jumped online, and I don't know of any TV stations that are charging, but the newspapers are.
Right. The newspapers are doing that.
That's the conundrum.
Or you get some information free, and then you get to join the extra special, Mickey Mouse fan club, and you get a special kind of news there, the in-depth stories. Which, again, I'm not sure on a local paper how many people go, how in-depth are you going to get here for me that I'm going to pay for that? I don't know. I'm raising the question without having the answer.
Right. And, the other point I wanted to make, Gary, is that under Bezos' ownership, there's been some significant changes at the Washington Post.
Right.
Now, they were already losing money. So I think, and some people have said, well, the changes that Bezos has made, it's because Trump is now in office. Right. You can argue that point, but if you set that aside, he's made some significant changes, and they've continued to lose money, and they've continued to jettison journalists at large rates.
Yeah.
So what is the issue? I think it's that they're trying. What they're trying to do is they're trying to right the ship. They're trying to get more to the middle and be more objective, because they've been accused by many of being left-leaning. So they're trying to get more to the middle, and I mean that's a smart idea. I mean that's true journalism for you, right? Being objective. But in doing so, they've lost a lot of their audience. But the question is,
now
will they be able to get some back?
It's interesting though. But when you talk about the objectivity, because today we're much more polar in how we look at newspapers. They would say, okay, I'm going to read this newspaper because it kind of supports what I believe. I'm going to read this newspaper because it kind of supports what I believe. But you think back to the day you mentioned about Watergate, Woodward and Bernstein reporting on, and which led to the downfall of President Nixon. And they did a great piece of journalism. I mean, they followed the leads. They took it. You ever see All the President's Men? It's an incredible job. And they were pointed out constantly by the Nixon administration as, we know what Ben Bradley leads on. He was the guy who ran the newspaper. We know which way he leads. This is all about Democrats. It's all about the left. But it wasn't. I mean, they actually went out and did the news, and it turned out to be correct. So in those days, they would say the same things, but it didn't have the same kind of division in terms of, okay, I'm not going to read the paper because of this. People still read the paper, but it was interesting compared to today. And we look at it and say, I'm not reading that because it's not objective. Okay, back then they'd say, well, they're reporting. It looks like it might be favoring, this one side over another, but it wasn't really that way. Does that make any sense at all? It's like I'm kind of babbling there.
No, right. There was that presumption.
Yeah.
Like Walter Cronkite, where everybody believed what he was saying. But now papers and other media outlets have to make a concerted effort to be objective, whereas prior to that, it was just, basically assumed. And so one of the things that Bezos did was he told his editorial board, when we had this most recent presidential election, he says, you're not going to endorse anybody. You're not going to endorse Harris. You're not going to endorse Trump. We don't do that as a newspaper anymore.
Right.
Because, and I think he said it in so many words that that's such a clear-cut example of how you lean politically, whether you endorse this candidate or that candidate. And newspapers shouldn't be in that sort of business. They should be right down the middle.
Yeah, and yet they have been for a long time. I mean, newspapers constantly endorse candidates and step out there. That's kind of been an American tradition almost with a lot of these major newspapers. So that's a big change when you say the Washington Post wasn't going to do that. And I remember when he said that. One other thing, with these billionaires who buy up these, you look at like Rupert Murdoch buying up Fox, and you see a guy like Bezos buying the Washington Post and different things like that. Are they good for the news industry, do you think, or is it just they're applying the same principles, or they say, okay, well, here's my side. I'm going to make sure the newspaper or the radio or the TV or whatever I buy, multimedia stuff, is going to be my view of things. Generally, and again, I know every situation is probably different, but generally, do you think they're good for the information business, be it the newspaper or whatever?
Well, they certainly have a lot of money now, don't they?
They do.
They can pump into it. I've been thinking about that, Gary. So I'm glad you brought that up. I think they see these things, these media platforms, as pet projects.
Okay.
Because they've conquered other worlds in other business industries.
Right.
So then they see this one as a challenge, because it's not easy to make money in the media, and so they see it as a new mountain to climb. And yeah, look at Elon Musk, right? He made some sweeping changes to Twitter or X. Still can't just say it right out the gate.
I know.
But and you know what? When he sells it, when he eventually sells it, they're going to turn it back to Twitter. Whoever buys it is going to flip it right around and say, no, you know what? It's Twitter again.
Right.
I just know it. I had that feeling. But that's how I see it. Is that they look at it as a pet project, and they have their own ideas. But Bezos is not like he's guiding it, but he has other people, true journalists.
Yeah, he's not
people who have been in the business a long time, actually running it. Operations-wise.
Yeah, he's not the news guy. I mean, it's like you said, it's one of his little pet projects, and it's something that he's got his hands on. But it's interesting. It's interesting to watch these guys and see what they do with it and how they run these things. And I think you can probably look at, you look at people scream about George Soros backing different organizations like our radio company here in the country. Different things like that, and you say, well, what are they doing with these things? What are they trying to shape public opinion? Are they trying to get more even reporting? I guess everyone is a little bit different, and the proof's in the pudding, I suppose. Final thought.
Right. So yeah, we're just going to see with the Washington Post, because they're trying to swing the pendulum back towards the middle. So are they going to be able to gain enough independent readers and viewers? Are they going to be able to do that? Because they've lost so many. I would think that we're from kind of left leaning.
Yeah.
So what time will tell. Because you get rid of 300 people. That was a third of their staff.
Right.
They had one reporter that I saw. She was embedded over in the Ukraine, and she lost her job. You know what I mean? So they're going to take some hits. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, it is.
Tough.
We'll watch it and continue to comment on it. Thanks so much this morning, Ted. Good conversation. Really enjoyed it, and hope people pick up a copy of Saving the Beast. You can find it at Amazon. Ted Bezos owns that too. A recovery reporter reflects on America's broken media and how to fix it. Great book to read. Check it out. And Ted, of course, the information officer right here in York County. Ted, thanks so much, man. Looking forward to next Friday with you.
Yeah, thank you, Gary.
Have a great weekend. Go Pats.
Yeah.
Ted Bezos. Ted Bezos here on the Gary Sutton Show. No, it's actually Ted Czech here on the Gary Sutton Show. Mr. Bezos probably won't be on here for some time. I'm just thinking. He's basically trying to save the Washington Post. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more. We got news coming your way here.